Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I will explain and recap an interesting horror mystery movie called The Unheard. What happens to someone who is unable to hear and gets a chance to hear again? What if they hear more than they bargained for? The protagonist in this movie is Chloe, a teenager who lost her hearing at 8 due to meningitis. She arrives in her native city to participate in an experimental treatment procedure that aims to reverse deafness. Chloe was an ideal candidate as she was not born deaf. Here we see Dr. Sophia Lynch, who explains the procedure. It involves injecting the inner ear with a retrovirus, which mimics the cellular growth in the fetus. Since it was an experimental trial, there was no certainty that it will work and may have some undesired side effects. Chloe accepts the trial, as she was eager to hear once again. She lies in her application form about medications, as she was on antidepressants. After a successful injection, Dr. Lynch gives ear drops for regular application and her card for any emergencies. Chloe and her dad moved out from here when she recovered from meningitis. At that same time, her mom went missing. Nobody knew whether she ran away, got killed, or committed suicide. Apparently, over the years, here there were many such incidents of young women and girls missing without a trace. Now Chloe checks into her family cottage near the woods. In this house she used to live with her mom and dad. She had many fond memories of it. She even remembered her voice, as back then she could speak. Her dad was a doctor who had planned to come here after a couple of days. They were selling this house as they have moved on. In the house, everything was okay except for hot water and the car. In the evening, Chloe saw a lady's missing poster while grocery shopping. After dinner, she put on some old VCR tapes and watched home videos of herself with her mom, dad, and others. She also saw someone in the cottage opposite her. The next morning she went for a walk near a lake, which triggered her memories. She remembered playing with kids. Just then her dad's friend Hank arrived to fix the hot water and the car. Hank was an ex-cop and a good friend of Chloe's dad. He says all cottages here are almost empty and safe, but sometimes homeless guys crash into them. This made Chloe a little nervous, so she started keeping a knife with her at night. She watched more videos and started feeling something odd. The next day she drove to a house where a pickup one was parked. It belonged to a guy named Joshua, who was Chloe's childhood friend. Chloe had some memory of him and he was on one of those tapes. Joshua took her to his house and introduced her to his mom, Ellen, who used to babysit her. Ellen and Chloe's mom were high school friends and she was in charge of Joel's house for maintenance and repair. She was missing her friend dearly. Here Chloe saw some old photos. Hank saw Chloe talking to Joshua. In the city we see a teenager finishing her shift. As she was about to head back to her home, someone attacks her and kills her in her own car. The next morning when Chloe woke up, surprisingly she was able to hear. The experiment worked. Chloe was overwhelmed and cries in happiness. She hears all the sounds of the household and talks on the phone with her dad, who was also overwhelmed. Later Dr. Lynch conducts some tests as Chloe was the first recipient who showed a positive response. Her hearing was back up to 80%. Dr. Lynch suggests a therapist to Chloe, as sudden hearing could substantially impact her mental health and behavior. But Chloe ignores it as she was very happy. After returning from the institute, Chloe saw a police car rushing with sirens. Joshua says last night another girl went missing, neither her body is found nor her car. This place is not safe. Chloe was scared a little hearing this and she didn't disclose her newfound hearing ability to Joshua. Later she continues watching home videos. This time she started hearing voices and loud white noises. She saw some guys partying in the opposite cottage house, which was supposed to be empty. Just then she receives a phone call from an unknown number where she heard the same white noise that was coming from the TV. She also heard her mom's voice calling her name. She took her medication and added eardrops. As she went to bed she again started hearing the loud voices of different people coming from the basement. Curiously, Chloe went down to check it out, but no one was there. On placing her ear on the carpet in her room she was still hearing voices, and her mom's voice again said, "Happy 4th of July, Chloe. Happy 4th of July." Chloe was confused. Clearly, she thought it was some kind of auditory hallucination. She marked the place with a plus sign. The next day, on the way to Hank's office, Chloe saw lots of missing women's photos. Her mom's photo was also there. She went missing on July 5th. It seems her last words to Chloe were, "Happy 4th of July, Chloe," and her mind remembered it. Chloe took a drilling machine from Hank, who asked her to stay away from Joshua as his background was not right. Chloe drilled at that plus sign, made a hole, and placed a torch onto it. She went down to the basement and placed her ear on the floor where that flashlight was pointing. She again heard voices and her mom's voice, but this time it was loud. This caused her ear to bleed. This all spooked her a little. Just then she saw some light in the opposite cottage. This time with a little bit of courage she went ahead to check it out. The house was empty but was wrapped in plastic. There was a camera stand pointing toward Chloe's house. Chloe in panic ran to her house and called Dr. Lynch. She explained her hallucinations and bleeding. The next morning, while on a call with her dad, Chloe discovered a hidden mic in her house. Meaning someone was snooping on her. Late afternoon, Dr. Lynch arrived here and checked Chloe's ear. It was normal. In her opinion, auditory hallucinations are found to be quite common in people with cochlear implants. Since this treatment is parallel to it, Chloe's hallucinations didn't surprise her. She again suggested Chloe consult a therapist, who would help her to adjust to this new reality. To cheer her up, Dr. Lynch took Chloe for a drink, discussed her life, and spent some time enjoying. After returning home, Chloe tried to be in an uncomfortable position with Dr. Lynch, but Dr. Lynch refused it. Dr. Lynch was slightly disappointed in Chloe, as she had not disclosed her antidepressant medication to her. This could have seriously impacted the studies. Just then Chloe suffers another panic attack. She starts vomiting and rushes to the bathroom. When she woke up the next morning, Dr. Lynch was gone. Chloe had no memory of what had happened. She sees Joshua coming out of the opposite cottage and follows him. Chloe confronts him in his house, where he was keeping an eye on Chloe's house with many cameras and mics. Joshua says, "Your dad had asked my mom to look after that house. But a few months back I saw someone or heard something in your house. It was not normal. I started recording. We are surrounded by sound waves, vibrations, and magnetic fields. Humans can hear only certain frequencies, but machines can record a wide range of frequencies. Since your arrival, there is an abnormal level of change in all data." Joshua shows her video footage where subtle changes occurred as she walked. As he played the recording, Chloe heard the same white noise, different voices, and her mom's voice. She started bleeding again. Joshua was of the opinion that all the different voices are from the spirit world and are trying to connect with humans. Voices are of dead people. To Chloe, all this seemed far-fetched, and Hank's opinion of Joshua seemed right. She told him about the sound of a party she heard the other day in his house, which he categorically denied. One thing was clear: due to the treatment, either Chloe was hearing things that were impossible for ordinary human brain, or she just simply hallucinating. Chloe calls Dr. Lynch, but her phone was on voicemail. Dr. Lynch had skipped her office. In the evening, while watching home videos, the noise levels increase all by themselves. She sees her mom's image on TV where she says, "Chloe, I see you. You are so big and grown up." Here Chloe suffers from another panic attack. Next, we see her waking up in Hank's house. Hank says her dad had called him to check on her, since a strong storm was brewing outside. As Hank went downstairs to turn on the generator, Chloe started observing the house. She saw a photo of Hank with her mom, on the wall with her dad's image being folded. She understood something is not right. When Hank returned, she made an excuse of vomiting, and rushed to the bathroom. Hank wore gloves, removed his box cutter, and smashed Chloe's phone. He was a serial killer cum rapist who abducted many women. Being a cop helped him. Chloe ran from the bathroom window to the woods, sensing imminent danger. Hank followed her as she rushed to his outhouse. In the outhouse she found many dead girls' bodies in a preserved state. Unfortunately, Dr. Lynch's body was also there. Hank made her his victim. Chloe somehow escaped from there to her house. In her house, The TV starts on its own where Chloe sees her mom again. This time Hank was also in the footage. He was killing her and it had got recorded on tape. Just then Hank appeared from behind and attacks Chloe. He knocks her over and says, "You sound like your mom." He ties her to a bed when Joshua too came here sensing extremely elevated levels of frequencies. Hank attacks him sneakily and makes him bleed. Meanwhile, Chloe wakes up and manages to free herself. She was hiding in a closet when Hank returned to her room. She attacks him with a knife and runs. As she was helping Joshua to walk, Hank walked back towards her. This time the high-frequency voice coupled with fluctuating images creates a distraction and pain in Hank's as well as Chloe's ears. Chloe, who was used to this kind of pain, used this opportunity to slice Hank's neck. Hank dies on the spot due to bleeding. Chloe again sees her mom on TV where she was repeating the word, "Say Happy 4th of July." As Chloe says those words, the film ends. So what happened here? Well, the premise of the film is spirits can talk and humans can't hear them. Chloe's mom's spirit was lingering in this house. She tried making contact with humans. Her sound frequency was inaudible to the human ear. Joshua understood this to some extent after listening to hours of recordings. Chloe lost her hearing when she was 8. After the experiment, she suddenly gained her ability thanks to the experimental treatment or thanks to her mom's spirit. She was not only able to hear mundane sounds but also subtle sounds in her house. Note that she was hearing subtle sounds only in her house because when Dr. Lynch checked her out at the institute, Chloe's hearing was at 80%, meaning her mom's spirit was helping her all along in the house. All the voices she was hearing in the house, people she saw parting in the other house, were from the spirit world. Apparently, spirits also enjoy a good party. In the end, Chloe's mom helped her to end Hank's atrocities. And Chloe accepted the reality that her mom was always there for her. She got closure and it seemed her mom too got salvation. Overall, this is a gripping film with superb sound and visual editing. It may seem lengthy but it's worth it. I liked it very much. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Do check out my blog, www.letmerecap.com. Thanks for watching, take care.